What's up everyone, Dylan Wills here. Today I'll be reviewing Hereditary. It's directed by Ari Aster. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but anyways, this is his directorial debut, and in this movie we have a mother and her family who are grieving over the loss of her mother. And as the movie goes on, the mother of the family starts to discover something much more deeper within the family that will change everything. So I went to a premiere screening of Hereditary at the Monster Fest in Brisbane, which was pretty fun. And so going into this premiere, I didn't know anything about this movie. I didn't watch trailers or anything. The only thing I saw was this photo, and I was like, that looks intense, let's go see it. And also, I'm a huge horror fan. I love the genre, it's basically my niche. So I was like, yeah, I just have to go see it. And it is very rare that I ever come across a horror that makes me feel creeped out or even get goosebumps. And Hereditary made me feel all of these things. This film is deeply, deeply unsettling. There are so many moments in this film that will shock you, and there are so many moments that will stay with you even after the movie finishes. This movie is just so bloody intense, and not in the way that you would expect. The way the director makes you feel and see and experience all the things in this movie is just so terrifying and tense. He does a good job at tricking the audience. He does a good job at tricking expectations. Like, you think the movie's going to go in this direction, but it totally goes in a different direction, and it is just so intense. I love this movie. There's just so many moments in this film that are great and will probably creep you out. Like, this film goes for 2 hours, just over 2 hours, and you're tensed up for the whole movie. There's just so many great and memorable moments. Like, no spoilers, but there's this dinner table scene. And it is one of the most awkward and dramatically tense dinner table scenes I've ever seen. And as well as that, there's just so much creepy imagery in this movie that just sticks with you. This movie captures what real horror is. It's not what goes bump in the night, it's not always that, it's so much more. And this movie captures the horror of real human emotion. And it's used as a weapon of horror to induce terror into the audience, and it delivers. This movie tackles themes of grief, guilt, resentment, and even mental health. The way they explore these themes is just really beautifully done. So many people will relate to this movie on an in-depth level because we've all had some trauma in our families, and we've all felt like we've been cursed at some point in our lives. So this film really nails the dramatic elements and the horror elements and blending them together to complement the themes of this movie. One of the things I love the most about this movie is that it doesn't go towards the cheap jump scare route. It does have a few jump scares, but they aren't false ones. They don't have that cliche jump scare sound that we always hear in horror movies these days. So yeah, I really love the movie for that because it plays off of real horror. It focuses on it by creating suspense, creepy atmosphere, and emotional drama. This movie is a slow burning movie, but in a good way. It all builds up beautifully to an intense what the fuck climax, and I loved it. I love the fact that this movie can be taken in so many different ways. It has so many interpretations, it has some crazy metaphors and some crazy foreshadowing. The more I think about it, the more it gets better and better. The cast in this movie are great, but Toni Collette is amazing. Hands down best female performance in a horror movie since Essie Davis in The Babadook. She is amazing. Her performance is so tense and on edge. It has a sort of unpredictability to it, and it kind of complements her character. And what makes this movie so impactful is that every character is very well developed, so when something happens in the movie, it makes it so much more impactful because you're invested into the characters. You get behind the characters' emotions, and that's what really drives the movie. I do have a couple negatives with the movie, but they aren't major flaws. They're more minor flaws and little nitpicks. So yeah, I thought that there were a couple moments in the story that didn't really add up conclusively. They might do upon second viewing, Who knows? But yeah, my other flaw and my last flaw is that there are a couple plot points that were a bit repetitive, and there were a couple moments that felt familiar. Like, some parts reminded me of the Babadook. And it's not a huge criticism, it's just a little nitpick I had. But anyways, Hereditary is one hell of a roller coaster ride, blending drama and horror elements beautifully together to complement the deep themes of this film. And it's not just the best horror movie of 2018 so far, it's also one of the best movies of 2018 so far. And I'm gonna give Hereditary an A-. Okie dokie, guacamole, let me know what you guys thought about the movie down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And if you guys like this video and you want to see more, click subscribe and I'll see you later.